Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I hope you're all well. I know I've been out for a couple of weeks, I've been sick, and then there's been the craziness of the US presidential elections, and so, just kind of getting back into the groove here. So it's time for the Friday flip, and as always, there's a link in the cards and down below to the playlist for the Friday flips. What I'm going to do today is flip through journals that I first started using when I started playing with visual journaling / illustrated journaling and adding a lot more ephemera to my journals. Up to that point, I'd been using bound books. And what I did is I took a whole bunch of different kinds of paper. In this particular book, it's, I think, primarily cardstock, whereas in this one, it's got all kinds of different paper. And what I did was I just went ahead and created a stack of paper. And in this one, you can see there's an envelope back here. It's got a bunch of stuff in the back. And I took it to my local print shop. And in my case, that was Staples. And I just had them put a spiral bound on them. These books have got cardboard covers that have got wallpaper coverings on the front and the back. And I just found it such an easy way to start playing in a new format or a new style for me, very inexpensively. And if you've been on my channel for a while, you know I'm all about how do you do things creatively without it costing a lot of money. Okay, so here's one of them. So this is a filled journal, and it's bound in that it's spiral bound. And it was just kind of fun because, as you'll see, this particular one starts in 2006, and it's, I think, the first time that I started doing this kind of stuff, is playing more with colors and sketching and adding ephemera to my journals. Because up to that point, as I've mentioned before, I've been a lifelong journal keeper. I've had one since I was, in primary school. And what was interesting is up to that point, I paid more attention to the cover art of my journals, as well as doing a lot of writing. That's basically what I use my journals for, is I document my life in terms of just, what's happening, what I'm thinking about, what's going on. I process a lot of emotions in them. So that's what I primarily use my journals for. Up to this point, it was essentially written. So I have a whole stack of them. There's boxes of these, but I'm not sure that that'd be interesting to look at, or really that I could share, because it essentially has just got pages and pages and books and years of writing, right? Some of them, when I go back and look at some of the stuff that I did when I was much younger, oh, the angst, really the angst, right? Thank goodness. One of the nice things is you get older and you get out of that whole angsty phase for the most part. So in this particular one, I wanted to try something different. Again, black paper. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I have this thing with black paper. I'm convinced I'm going to use it. And then, here it is again. I don't use it. So this was the particular year, 2006, that I decided, I collect all this ephemera from places that I go to, and a way to have it just not be just pen and ink writing in my journals. Just what do I do with all of these? They've all been sitting in folders and drawers, and I pick up really fantastic art and, magazine and maps and things like that, menus or business cards. And what do I do with all of these, right? So what I decided to do was actually do something different this year, is actually start adding some of these pieces of ephemera that I just didn't have a place for them. You go to a Chinese restaurant, they've got all these fortune cookies. What am I going to do with that, right? So what I started doing with this journal is there is more writing, because really that is my comfort zone. If you've been here for a while, you know that writing is where I am the most comfortable. And actually spending some time making it more visually interesting was interesting. This is when I started, putting letters in that would come in the mail, as opposed to just stick them into my journal. I would just, tap them into my morning pages journals, if you will. Just, again, I would never put maps like this. So The Perfect Storm, the movie, we went for a walk in Gloucester, and this was the area I live in, and you could kind of see where all the different scenes in the movie were shot, which was kind of fun. So again, an experimentation, just playing a lot of my pages because they're cardstock are colored. And that was one of the fun things that I kind of played with, was just, so what does it look like when it's colored paper that I'm working with. So as you can see, this is, like I said, this is the first time that I actually did this. And if you look at the journals that I create today, they are so different in some ways, and yet in some ways so similar. I like art, I like sketches, I like ephemera, and of course my go-to, writing. So that's been really fun. It's been fun to kind of go back and look at some of these, and also just remembering how, instead of spending a lot of money to buy, so here it says, completed my first visual journal, right? Good size to use. I just think it's kind of a fun way to start playing. And again, you can start with a cheap notebook. I just happen to decide I have all this cardstock because I used to be a paper scrapbooker. And when I decided to go electronic with my scrapbooking, what am I going to do with all this paper? I got this idea from somebody, and I'm sorry, but I don't remember who, it's just a long time ago, to actually do that. So this particular one is a slightly bigger size, as you can see. And unlike this particular journal that I had bound, is made up of a mix of papers, as I showed in the beginning. So I use this more for a travel journal, so going to visit my brother and his family in Las Vegas. And I'm just looking to see if there's a date somewhere here to see, 2009, right? So this is some point, a couple of years after this first one. And as you can see, I basically went all in. I decided, okay, so we now have, I'm much more comfortable with making my journals more visually interesting to me, to actually play in, as opposed to just do all the writing. And then a couple of years later, my journals start to look like this, which is more along the lines of what I started doing for the next several years, is adding a lot more paint and collage and all kinds of fun layers. Now, because this is a travel journal and I have all this writing, of course, there's just a lot of information that is private, but, I'm kind of going to show you the pieces that I can in this journal. So, some sketching. There's always sketching of my nieces and nephews, stuffed animals. So that's another one, stuffed animal that one of my nieces had at the time. So again, as you can see in this particular journal, there's all different kinds of paper and different shapes and sizes of paper. So again, there's a lot of writing. So one of the things that's really fun about this as well is if you add an envelope in the back, you can just have it bound in and add all kinds of stuff that's back there. So that's what I have for you today. I think that there is a lot of focus on the stuff we can buy. And there's always stuff you can buy. There's so much of it. But I think one of the things that's fun is getting started and making it so that it's not precious, right? So these journals, both of them, probably cost me $2, $3, maximum $4 to have it bound. I already had all the paper in my stash. So it's not precious. You get to play. You're going to love everything you do? Absolutely not, right? I mean, but at the end of the day, that's not the point. What is the point is that you get to play, you get to be creative, you get to do it in a way that doesn't cost a lot of money. And as I'm flipping through these journals and some of the older journals that I have in these Friday flips, it's kind of a walk down memory lane, which is really fun. So I hope you enjoyed and got something out of this. If you play creatively, please do leave links for me down below. I'd love to go see the journals, or in whatever form that you are being creative. I'd love to go take a look and see what you're up to. And if you have any questions or comments, please let me know down below. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for future flips, and I will talk to you soon. Stay safe. Bye.